Alright, for this next part, we're going to want to get some center lines and some centers on the back of the stabilizer. We want to get the center of this right here. We want to get the center of the back of the elevators because we are going to need to put where the hinges go. We're going to have to also use a joiner wire to join these two. We will cut this part out very soon, not yet. Don't worry about the joiner wire, I'll get into that in a second. You could use a dowel if you don't have a joiner wire. But the first tool that I have here that's a pretty cool thing is a center marker here. Basically you just put this on the thing and slide it right down, and that will give you a center line across your whole piece of wood, which is a very nice thing. Now if you don't have one of these cool little doohickeys, then you can always use, this is a quarter piece, so I'm going to use 3/32. And you can take your 3/32 piece of wood and put that down, and then just take your marker and mark it. Now half of a quarter of course is an eighth, but when you put your 3/32 down and mark it on here, then that will come out to an eighth on the thing. If you use an eighth, then you'll be too high with the mark because of course you can't get right into the line where the eighth actually is. So 3/32 works pretty good for that in your pencil if you want to mark it off that way. And you don't need a whole big piece. We're going to put basically 4 hinges in here, so you can just mark the centers of where the hinges are going to go. And also for the joiner wire, the joiner wire is going to go, we're going to put everything together and we're going to get the centers on everything. I'll show you what's going on with that. But your joiner wire here just joins your elevators together. Once we get this all marked out, then we'll go ahead and drill holes and put that in, and that's what's going to make your elevator go, you know, up and down. But we'll put this in here, and then we're going to cut this out. We'll cut this center piece of wood right out of here, because that's the way it is on the plan. Now if you don't have a joiner wire, you can use a wood dowel. It's, hopefully you got some for where you're going to join your wing, but you're only going to need probably about, I don't know, 3 inches maybe, 2.5 to 3 inches for your wing to hold on, and that's all you're going to use your dowel for. So we can also use the dowel in here in place of a joiner wire, and all you would do is find your center here. I'll show you both methods. Mark your center down here, mark your center on your dowel after you figure out about how much we're going to go. Probably just a little less than half is all we're going to really need to use. So we'll mark that here and here, and then we'll just cut this whole piece of wood out from here to here, and then you just put the dowel in there, and that'll hold everything nice and straight. The biggest thing that we're looking to do is to make sure that the elevators stay nice and flat, whether you're using the joiner wire or you're using the dowel, because when this moves, you want the whole piece to move as one. You don't want one end to be higher than the other or lower than the other. So this is kind of a precise thing you need to do. The wood dowel is probably the easiest because you can lay things flat and keep everything solid, and then just epoxy this wood dowel right in here. As long as you got everything flat, that's the way it's going to dry. When you're using a joiner, we're going to have to drill through, and you're going to want to make sure that your joiner sits nice and flat as well. And if it sits flat right from there, then you should have no problems regardless of how you drill. Just got to make it straight, that's all. And I'll show you some tips about that as we go.